Hi there YouTube, Extreme Trains here. So it's been quite a while since I've had a look at any of the All Engines Go push along / metal collection color changes. And that's because I just assumed that I was never going to get my hands on that. I think it was wave 2 or like one of the waves of the characters that had importantly Bruno, who has been quite hard up until extremely recently to find in Australia. And yet on a recent trip that I had to Singapore, I managed to check out 2 Toys R Us's in Singapore. I looked at the one that's at the Jewel shopping centre, which is the one not in the airport but in and around the airport. That had no Thomas and Friends at all, unfortunately. So it looks like the Thomas shrinkage effect is not limited to non-Australian or even, for example, Western countries, because yes, even Singapore at Toys R Us, which used to be a Thomas and Friends, ride or die, there was not any Thomas. But at the flagship store they have, which is down near Sentosa Island towards the south of the island, there was a huge Toys R Us there. Just went on forever. It was fantastic. Highly recommended. And there they did have a little sell of Thomas and Friends stuff. I posted some pictures of it to my community tab, so you want to take a look at what other stuff was there, including some adventures, diesels. Wild. But what I did manage to find was the complete set of Wave 2, I think it is, of the color changes. So we've got here Diesel, we have Bruno, and we've got this version of Thomas here. So he's one of, again, a further version of color changing Thomas. In this video, we're going to take a look at all 3 and see how they compare. What are we waiting for? Let's do it. Alright, so you can see I've got all 3 here in their packaging. Now they're currently, as I understand it, in their cold expressions because it is winter and it's a chilly weekend here in Sydney. But you can see here we've got Bruno the brake car, we've got Diesel, and we've got Thomas. And again, what's annoying about these is this is like the 3rd color changing Thomas that's been released, and yet we have no way of knowing, it's not like Sunrise Thomas or Retro Thomas, like they really got to get their naming together. So you can see here we've got the 2 different versions of it there. There you go. Color change will last long during special intensity periods of time, blah, blah, blah. So you can see the 2 versions of him there. A very similar thing on the back of this one. And the same here as well. So let's crack them open and take a look. Let's get out these engines and take a look now. As I said earlier, they are in their cold form at the moment. So you can see this is what Thomas looks like. Again, we've got that kind of rainbow wheel, which seems to be the pattern for these color changes. I think he's made of he's a solid purple for the body, and then he's got the black glitter for the chassis and the smoke box and the cab roof section, and then we've got white plastic for the dome and the running board. Yeah, an interesting Thomas face. I mean, again, it's very All Engines Go, but it is a bit weird. And also Thomas in purple is interesting. At least though blue, I mean, maybe I kind of get it. Poor Bruno here. I mean, he looks pretty cool. I like the orange on him. It's really nifty, actually. And the clear plastic, I think, is a little bit unfortunate for him because you can kind of see the weird waffling on the inside, which I think is perhaps not that aesthetic. But the green face is weird. I remember Percy having the green face when he'd seen the skunk, but like, why is his face like that? I don't know. And then we've got these yellow wheels. I think these look really nice. Love the yellow wheels. And again, you can see over here, he's also got this metallic chassis block here, but it's a different fleck. So let's just do a comparison. So you've got like kind of, this is clearly glitter, whereas this I think is trying to be like metallic. And you can see there's quite a difference in the size of the flecks in these are very, very small. This one is much, much larger. So again, not a bad looking engine, but again, why is it Bruno? I don't know. The orange is throwing me off because he isn't orange. He's like red. What? Anyway, this is then Diesel. I think Diesel looks pretty good actually. The red face, again, a missed opportunity for him to be angry perhaps. He's like red in the face because he's mad, whereas now he kind of looks happy. And then he's got these blue wheels. Why on earth has he got this blue? The blue makes no sense. It doesn't match with anything else. And then he's got this, the red kind of squiggly liney pattern here. Again, like all of this wave particularly feels like a weird missed opportunity to do something a bit different. Some of these color changes have been awesome. The snow one for Thomas is still by far my favorite. That goes from the, you know, so he's got the snow on the side. That's awesome. But these ones have just not quite been it. Perhaps they will change colors and reveal themselves to be more interesting, but I'm suspicious that they will not. So, I've got my bowl of warm water. I'm going to try and convert these to bright colors, and we'll come back with some wet but hopefully different colored color changing Thomas and Friends toys. I've got Diesel still soaking, but let's take a look first at Thomas and Bruno. This Thomas is interesting now. Suddenly I actually think this looks way better. The white and the blue, again, you can see he's much less purple now. He's blue. Still not sure what that pattern's supposed to be, but anyway. And of course the face being back to a normal color is nice to see. Yeah, this reminds me now of the winter one, which I just said was my favorite of the color changes, but it's not doing it for me because I don't quite understand the point of the color changing. Bruno here is similar. He's gone. Gone is the funky colored face. Now we've got a yellow body, which is fine, except that this is not color changing. So now we have this yellow part with then the weird orange on the top. Why has that happened? Again, not quite clear. You can see I'm leaving puddles everywhere. And then I think now Diesel is done. Yep, Diesel looks done. And I think now we have the explanation for why he was showing up as blue wheeled, because if we just, I'm going to roll him around here in my little tower, which is hiding just off screen. I mean, every time I film these reviews, I end up with a wet table, but better than nothing. Bingo, there we go. There's Diesel post color change. Yeah, this is interesting. This is almost kind of giving Railway Series energy in that a lot of things that got color swapped from blue. You can see he's just dripping. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave. Thanks, Diesel. Thanks for leaving a puddle. That's the practicality of these color changes, is perhaps a little bit limited. But yeah, this makes a lot more sense. It's a lot more cohesive as a color scheme. The blue and the red, it's cool. It's different. I actually quite like it. I don't understand why it exists, but it's cool. It's warm, I suppose, actually, in fact. But yeah, this one of the three I think is my favorite, even though none of them really make any sense. Yeah, what a weird little lineup. So quick wrap up on this wave of the Thomas & Friends All Engines Go color changing metal engines. So I think the first wave of these was the best. That was the one with Percy the skunk, Thomas the snow, and I think Kana with the electricity. All the other ones I think have been extremely mid, just to put it bluntly. I don't really understand why there doesn't seem to be any theme or cohesion or story really behind the color changing. It just seems to be random, and I think that is kind of the problem with these. All the other ones told a story. Thomas was in the snow, and the snow, cold, hot, he melted, unmelted. Percy, the skunk, that made sense. Kana, electricity. She does that kind of stuff in the show, but all this stuff seems so random. Unless it's in the show, and even if it is, it's not obvious how it is, and I wouldn't know because the packaging doesn't tell me. It just doesn't make any sense. It feels like they said, oh, we should do some color changing toys, and then just didn't think about why. And, when you're trying to sell these to someone, you want to try and explain what the point of it is. If I'm a good parent who's going to make a lot of mess, why would I want to do that? Well, it hasn't really been explained in this toy. And on that, these are quite expensive. So I think in Australia, it was between 10 to about 14 Australian dollars to purchase these engines individually. In Singapore, I paid 15. I'm going to double check. $15.99 Singapore dollars for these, which translates to, when I was there, almost 20 Australian dollars each for these engines. Yeah, they're not worth that. I've collected them because I'm a completionist, but these are definitely skippable. If you see these, save your money and use them to import some of the new Thomas stuff if you have to, because yeah, these are a fail. And I literally just uploaded a video about Salty saying how good he was compared to some of the other engines or some of the other products that are around at the moment. But I think these color changes were bridge too far and make literally no sense. So on that interesting note, thank you very much for watching. Let me know your comments down below. The links to the other two waves of color changes that I have reviewed on my channel will be in the description if you want to go check out what I thought about those. Yeah, these ones are definitely it's not for me. It's not for me. Anyway, that's all I've got time for. Thank you very much for watching. Mystic Dream Trains.